Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters as we draw close to the end of group stages. Only a couple of games remaining. We go towards the winner match of Group D. And I'm joined on the desk now by Todd and Rotterdam. Is this the expected winner match that a lot of people thought we would see?
No, I think TLO against Patience would have been.
And you think Patience versus Stardust was a definite Patience win?
I think so, yeah. Stardust has been struggling a lot. You know, he lost in Challenger against Neeb. He lost to me in ladder 1 week ago, so it was pretty obvious he was going to lose there.
True story. Especially the second part, that's when you know something's truly wrong. It's like, oh, God.
Oh, here we go again.
I'm losing to Letot. It's like, wow. Should I even go to Gamescom?
Oh, God. I'm not even going to issue the challenge because I've done it many times already, and no, everybody knows you won't take it anyway. So.
All right, so Sean, like you as a neutral person at this desk, I believe roughly a month ago you were organizing a bunch of show matches, and well, I believe you reached out to me, you're like, hey Kevin, you want to play against Todd? And what was my answer again?
You said, yeah.
And then you asked Todd, right?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He said, not at this time.
Oh.
What about today?
Oh.
What about tonight?
I don't have my gear with me, Letot.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
You guys. It's been going like this since Warcraft 3, pretty much. Here we are in StarCraft 2 in 2015.
We weren't really on the same level in Warcraft 3, though.
No?
He couldn't steal series from me, or even a map.
That's true.
You've taken a map away from Todd, surely?
Not in tournaments.
Not in a tournament play. There is a funny story about, like, once upon a time, I was a very confident little nerd, and I played Todd in a big tournament. I was like, hey, I bet you 50 euro I'm going to win. And Todd looked at me, he's like, why would you want to do that? Like, he looked at me like, this kid is really stupid. But I really thought I was like going to do it. So he's like, okay. And then I just got wrecked out too.
Was Todd a lot more brutal back in Warcraft 3? I didn't really know him back then, or is he the same old guy?
Pretty much the same old guy. Maybe even a little nicer back then.
A little nicer back then?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say a little bit nicer now.
No, a little nicer back then.
What the hell does that mean?
It means you were
oh my God.
Pretty
that I'm worse
guy.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the games.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the winners match. Enough about Todd and Roddy's lives together, but winner match coming up then. So Nerchio going head-to-head against Patience in the winners bracket match here, and of course the winner of this goes through to play tomorrow in the quarterfinals when we get to the best of 5 stage. And of course every player that gets to the quarterfinals banks themselves $1,000 and of course WCS points. So let's talk a little bit about this matchup then. Nerchio versus Patience. I think a lot of people, like you said already, when Nerchio played against TLO, was like, okay, TLO, this should be a victory. Are we kind of saying the same thing now from Patience's side?
I'm not too sure. Also because Patience PvZ is a little hit or miss, right? Sometimes it just looks pretty cool, even though you can see he's really committed to most of the builds he's going for. But most of the time the execution is there, and that's all that matters in this matchup. But if Nerchio is able to disrupt his play one way or the other, then I can maybe see Nerchio stealing victory over here, but Patience is the favorite. Like, saying anything else would be kind of silly, I guess.
Yeah, he took the 2-1 victory over Stardust. Ooh, hello, Patience.
He's such if you talk about cheeky guys, he's a cheeky guy, Sean.
He's a very innocent guy. He is cheeky. He's a very innocent, very polite young man, I think we can say. But yeah, he took 2-1 victory over Stardust, and I asked him about it, and he said it was really difficult. It wasn't easy at all to get that victory. And he said it was his biggest challenge yet in the tournament, which I completely agree with, coming through the open bracket, where he did cruise through. But,
I think he was probably maybe just showing some respect to his elder, because I don't think, like, on paper, Patience against Stardust shouldn't be that close. And I only saw the first map, which he won fairly easily, so a little bit surprised that, I guess, even that it was a 2-1. Okay. But in this case, I feel like his style going up against somebody like Nerchio, you know, of like very heavy aggression and like very refined build, is going to be really good. But like Roddy said, there's also a little bit of a part of like hit and miss, where like if Nerchio is able to read exactly into what's happening, he might be, you know, able to get enough units out to defend whatever's being thrown at him. And then once he goes into Aspire, he's a completely different player.
I was about to bring that up. Nerchio plays a very particular style against Protoss, Roddy. I'm sure you've... have you played against him on ladder before?
Not over the last few months, because he's playing mostly Legacy, but when I used to live in Europe, I played him quite a few times.
Talk to us about his particular style that he has against Protoss.
How did the Roddy builds do against him?
Not too well, other than a cheeky cannon rush. I'll never forget, 2011. No, Nerchio is just a very solid player overall. He does love, indeed, to save up some resources and then pretend to be be aggressive with maybe roaches, a few hydras, have a spire somewhere, and then transition into a Mutalisk. We saw it a couple times against Hearthstone, and even though he lost pretty decisively, he did play pretty good against Hearthstone, especially that Cactus Valley game where I kind of felt that he was in a very winnable position. He loves going Broodlords as well. We'll try to go up to Broodlords. That's of course how he was pretty much invincible once upon a time in Wings of Liberty. It was Yongwa, by the way, not first, that he destroyed back then in the Home Story Cup final. Of course, Infestors are not the same Infestors they are in Wings of Liberty, but if he can get up to that stage, I think we're going to see at least Broodlords in one of these games.
Okay, so the game has just about loaded, so I've been told. Is this going to be a close series?
Yeah.
You can answer completely honestly.
Yeah, no, I do think it's going to be close.
No, not one bit.
Not one bit? Okay, I'm not going to ask you for which side. We'll let everyone imagine which side Todd thinks it's going to be. But the game is ready, and it is time to head to the commentary team for this one.
All right, thanks, fellas, as we get in to find out who is going to be 7th out of 8th, moving on into the round of 8. And Moonglade,
hello.
Do you have a particular preference here? Who do you think is going to be able to kind of eke this out?
I think it's going to be Patience. He's certainly, I'd say, favored on paper, and he's a very aggressive Protoss player. Which I think is going to... I mean, Nerchio looks like a naturally defensive kind of guy, but I still feel like Patience is going to find a way in.
All right, well, we're getting into game now here between Patience and Nerchio as game number 1 begins. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss representing Dead Pixels. It is Patience.
Jeez. Is the word that comes to mind.
Maybe. And then up towards the top left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg representing Team Acer. It is Nerchio.
Not sure with this one. He's
getting slightly hot and sweaty here. There you go, that's what
sweaty. The sweaty Zerg.
It's getting hot here. It is getting hot.
It's getting hot in here.
And between these two, one of them's going to have to advance on right now. So at least for them, there'll be more hot days to come. And obviously, going into that round of 8 would be quite the spark in the end. Quite the spark.
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Quite the spark. I do like that. It would be, yeah, things would heat up just a little bit more if, especially if Nerchio found a way through Patience. It's not impossible by any means, but Patience seems like such a dangerous Protoss player. As we see a Forge go down, looking for a little cheeky cannon, no doubt.
I mean, that's a good point that you bring up. If Nerchio is able to actually advance in this, I think if people look at this group, people would probably peg Nerchio as as much as he used to be, kind of that tyrannical position in the European scene, they probably peg him as one of the less likely to actually advance on forwards. But right now, he's in the winner's game, going up against Patience, who he's being a bit sneaky, but it was spawning pool first, so this is a little bit harder to really pull off.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen at all. He's going to see the drone go down. He's like, oh, okay, you went for pool first. It is Nerchio after all. So it's like, well, this kind of makes sense. You do like to play super, super safe, so it'll be that normal sort of Forge fast expand. And for Nerchio, once he gets an idea that it is Forge at the front, he should be able to take a fairly safe third base behind this.
Yeah, once we end up seeing Patience every so often, just trying to eke this out, does slow down any kind of like earlier gateway pushes he would like to do later on. So, it comes at the deficit of not exactly being as quick if he wants to do for something more aggressive from here.
Certainly so. And the Forge Fast Expand was like one of the oldest builds we still have in the game, from Wings of Liberty. It's so figured out at this point. It's actually, I feel like for a lot of Zerg players, when they see this build, they're like, I know every timing for this.
Exactly,
It's so easy. It's so relaxed. It's not easy by any means, like in terms of how the game's going to end up, but
you've got so much experience against it.
You figured out the next few minutes at least. You're like, okay, I can do this. I know exactly what I can get away with for now.
Yeah, it works out well. At least, obviously, this Overlord at the front is keeping an eye on that gateway finishing up, and then we'll eventually know exactly what timing that wall is going to be fully complete. Nerchio behind this. I think it's funny because you say that. Nerchio thrived in the era where this kind of build was most popular, actually, against Protoss.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Ling chipping it away at a rock tower, nibbling it.
While.
Blunt your claws, that's for sure.
Yep.
What if you reduced your damage after a while?
Yeah, sure. Get his little nail file out.
Yeah.
Make sure he's nice and sharp.
back to the hatchery, get it fixed up.
Yeah.
Make for great gameplay.
As a Zergling pedicure, Pig knows plenty about that, apparently.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah. And yeah, so eventually those will be broken down, and that does eventually slow down Patient if he wants to go for some kind of gateway attack. +1 weapons already started up for him on the other side, which can be followed up with other things if he actually wants to go for something like an aggressive maneuver.
Yeah, or it could simply just be a third base. You know, Patience, he doesn't have to do it all on 2 base. There's no rule there. You know, he is a very aggressive Protoss player, but you know, third base and go for that high aggression with lots of Blink Stalkers is certainly something he could go down a road. And you know, with +1 already on the way, could line up very nicely with a quick +2 behind this. You know, +1's going to help you secure that third base. +2 help you with that aggression.
Yeah, and with all this gas having been spotted now, you know, Nerchio's probably feeling a little bit more comfortable on the other side. Noticeably, he does have his Roach Warren going down, which is usually a bit more of an indicator of trying to stifle some kind of aggression hitting you, but, well, I don't think there's going to be too much here from Patience's side of things.
Most likely just going to be that safety Roach Warren, because it is Nerchio after all. Like, he's just going to have it just in case. And just in case of this kind of thing happening, as you see 3 gates go down. Now, this not necessarily means it's going to be very aggressive. It could just simply be, you know, extra gateways into an expansion. It's not like he really committed to any sort of tech beyond this as well.
Oh, sees a gateway at the back. Now, I guess with all of the gas that he's actually bringing in here, and he's still left everybody on gas, if he wants to go for a 4-gate pressure, this could be very sentry heavy, kind of similar to more of the Nuvo 4-gate pressures that we've been seeing recently, right?
Yeah, that's certainly true. He's getting out his third base now, sending a probe up there as well. And there's a Twilight behind this. The timings all add up to it being a Nexus just a little bit later here. Very +1 gateway heavy oriented sort of defense. Instead of, you know, throwing out an Oracle like we do see a lot of Protoss do, to try and make it an easy early game and an easy third base.
Yeah, with that Twilight Council about to finish up. 7 Roaches on the way. Nerchio really not taking any liberties, overextending his economy at all. 10 Roaches on the way, just making sure he will be fully comfortable and confident against any kind of aggression. Even spreading his creep down towards the bottom left-hand side. He hasn't exactly noticed that pylon down there, but spreading his creep in this direction means that he'll be a little bit more defended in this area.
Yeah, he's going to have the Roaches out to deflect this fairly easily. Only 4 Zealots. But it's going to give also, you know, Patience an idea of what the army composition is, how big the army is right now for Nerchio. And look at that, 22 Zerglings behind this as well. Maybe looking to try and take down this third base early.
Sees the fact that all the tech is about done. And these Zealots decided to reroute themselves pretty quickly.
Yeah, decided to bail out and say, oh, Roaches, let's get out of here.
Yeah. That's good, though. No, sacrifice yourself. No reason to. No reason to at all.
Here we go, a lot of links coming across the map with these Roaches, so he is certainly fixing for a lot of aggression on this army early on. These sentries are fairly new, the energy is quite low. There's no Oracle to help out against all these links, and a nice surround possible.
Yeah, those sentries got caught in a position where they had to be very, very careful about their force fields, and this does open up the third base quite quickly here. An extra 4 gateways, it would be going up to 8 quite fast, so one would think it was going to be kind of that strong 3 base. +2 weapons and blink push, especially with the Immortals mixed in. It's very, very popular right now, but Nerchio's doing a good job of actually, you know, slowing down Patience's progression.
Forcing out an Immortal as well. And look at this, 1-1 Lings and Pathogen Glands on the way. Fantastic idea for what he's up against.
Double Stargate. Double Stargate had it on here. Not exactly the most common of transitions out of Patience, but he's trying to capture a few of these units. The Roaches will dance on out of there. Losing a few of them, but I think he may have got some sentries. And once again, he's forced out so many force fields to the point where going across the map at this moment would be very suicidal.
It would completely be. Like, not one force field left over with those sentries. And it seems like Patience is predicting that Immunoswitch is on the way. That's the only thing I could really grasp from a 2 Stargate at this point. Is like, okay, a lot of Ling, Roach pressure, very low sort of gas investment. So maybe he's saving up for those Mutalisks, but complete opposite, unfortunately for him, you know, with the pathogen glands and Hydras on the way.
And that's the funniest thing, because in the end, Patience is kind of playing to Nerchio's image of Nerchio in the past has liked to randomly hide a Spire, randomly transition to Mutalisk, randomly go to Mutas and Corruptors and just try and control the skies. But in this game, that's not the case. So this could really fall flat on its face, especially since it's Infestors that are going to be out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even he's upgrading +1 air as well. So he's really committing to the fact that maybe, just maybe, it's going to be the Muta switch on the way. I mean, Phoenix is still going to have a purpose. They still, when they get very high in numbers, they can lift up half this army, you know, kill the Hydra extremely fast. But with Infestors on the way as well, they're going to get locked down fairly easily if they're caught out.
See how Patience is going to deal with this. He's got himself +3 weapons on the way for his ground, +1 for his air. Plenty of Phoenix already out, and Nerchio did not spot those Stargates before. So the Spire that's coming down for him, well, if he commits too much to it, he could be caught unaware, as Nerchio, with this strong army. To see the Infestors at the front, though, with that Observer. That's very, very important for him. He has to seal that out. Good stuff. Whoa! But he gets himself a fungal on the edge of it. Guardian Shield goes down, making sure he can push him away.
Not too much damage there at all. He kind of got an idea of the army as well, which is pretty huge. He got a look at it for free, so Nerchio isn't going to surprise him with Infestors or Fungal.
And the Phoenix have been properly revealed now up towards the top, so the Spire, yeah, I mean, he can easily navigate away from that. He's got the Ultralisk Cavern on the way, started his +2 weapons now there. And these Phoenix going to be dead weight against that, unless, of course, he manages to pick up, you know, Infestors at, like, very, very important times in engagements.
Yeah, I do like Charge about to finish up as well. That's going to help out with this army. And more Immortals.
He also needs to reroute those drones towards from the third base to the gold, because if they stick it around at the back, they won't direct themselves to the other side unless you manually move them around.
To be fair, there's 16 drones there, so it is oversaturated right now.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes up for it, but you are completely right there. It's very inefficient.
Yeah, slightly.
Phoenix went down there. Maybe rallied a bit awkwardly. If you do see these Phoenix flying around looking to pick off Overlords, bad Fungal will be the end of all of them.
One of them, unfortunately, for itself gets fungled, and Corruptors are going to be the answer here to couple along with the Ultras. I mean, even just mixing in 2 Broodlords alone, if he gets with this great Spire at the back, hasn't seen it just yet, really wants to pick off some Queens, sees the Ultralisk Cavern, and he can only suspect that there will be a Spire down somewhere with potentially the greatest Spire. Oh, nice pickup, though.
Yeah, that's important. Cannot be giving them up for free like that.
Rare that you get the chance to do that, but Phoenix already pay for themselves for a little bit. This is a huge, huge Zealot force that he's warped in here.
Completely caught out too, so he's going to have to run with them or try and just simply trade it out. Big Fungal goes down, looks like it's trading.
I mean, him even trading these Lings off is not too bad at all, because he's just freeing up good room for supply for Ultralisks and things.
Yep, 4 more Ultras on the way, and, you know, Broodlords... If he gets Broodlords out like this, it's going to be an amazing army composition, because he's going to have Infestors to shut down anything that might try and threaten him. And if there's like a Blink Forwards or anything like that on the ground, Ultras are going to take care of them very easily.
On the desk, they were on point. I mean, Nerchio thrives in these later game situations, even against Protoss. Even against Protoss, I feel that this is where Nerchio has most comfort. He has always had a bit of a rough time against Protoss in the European scene. He just didn't particularly like the matchup, but that was when a lot of the Protoss were trying to just hit him hard, hit him fast at like 2 base and try and kill him off really early. When Nerchio got to this situation, he is a bit of a monster to deal with.
It's kind of surprised as well that Patience didn't try to do that 2 base, you know, that extra aggression that we expect from him, because he's naturally a very aggressive sort of player, and you'd think against someone who is as safe and as late game oriented as Nerchio, you'd want to end it ASAP.
And that's not the case just yet. This is a big force. And it's going to have a little bit of a harder time getting into those tighter, narrow choke points on this map and really doing the damage it wants to. There are quite a lot of them here on Terraform, so Nerchio is still going to have to play this very, very patiently.
Oh, that Zealot Force is going to create some big problems at the 3rd base. Is Nerchio going to turn around? Yes, he is.
Getting all those drones at the back. You weren't rerouted. We'll make sure you can do that for you. That's yeah. Now we can make some more, and then they'll be completely efficient.
Well, maybe, or you can rally them back to the same place from that hatchery, and it's just going to be completely inefficient. Army moving out once again, clearing up some of the creep, clearing out what's in the middle of the map, denying vision. Storm, the next step here, and a Fleet Beacon, and 6 Dark Templar.
Wow. Everything coming out here from Patience in game number 1 to try and defeat Nerchio. This is expanding up towards the top, really spreading himself out here. Those 6 Dark Templar, they are just going to chill and eventually walk in and could even just snipe out a hatchery as quick as the click of a finger. That is going to be kind of scary.
Yeah, it's going to take like 4 shots for a normal hatchery to go down. It's going to be ridiculous. Broodlords are with that army now, and we're just going to see counterattacks by the looks of it from Patience.
Finds a Broodlord, sees where it's morphing in, so could easily turn around and try and snipe that one out. It is going to morph in, and overstayed their welcome.
Little ugly here, free Immortal, free Stalker. And it's kind of just about Patience scrambling to find an army that's going to deal with this, and we see 2 more Stargates go down, so possibly a Tempest switch at some point, but he's going to do it soon as he is running out of time.
Alright, well, still taking this very, very slowly here. As Nerchio, he has a great army. Again, good quality of army, but the way in which this map is structured, very difficult to just move down one of these narrower paths and try and do something. Even this location is a bit iffy and annoying to deal with, but the Protoss army as a whole is way out of position to deal with that kind of base. So that is a fully free base, fully sacrificed.
Completely free, completely sacked, and I think that's kind of a good move.
Oh, if he gets the evolution chambers.
Oh, that would be beautiful as well as that hatchery. I mean, that's so much damage with these 6 Dark Templar.
Trying to transfuse some of those buildings. The bases up towards the top are going to be completely slaughtered, and not actually going for the Evos just yet. If 3-3 somehow manages to complete with this amount of pressure, it could be brilliant for him, but I don't think they're going to be at all. Dark Templars are on top of it. The army entirely is moving through this location. Carapace is gone. +3 weapons, 10 seconds from completion. That's going to be gone as well. Brilliant pickup.
He's focusing it.
Oh, nicely done. Denied.
Wow, it's completely denied there. The army is coming back. Nerchio completely out of position, putting his entire army up there in the north. He can recall out from here. He's completely fine.
Good stuff by Patience. Really, really well orchestrated there. Much as he did lose his base up towards the top, getting 3-3 and then having the transition onto Tempest from here. And he'll still slow the fights down. He'll still try and slow them down because now he's going to have the range as well as the terrain advantage, I would say.
Yep. And if he keeps counterattacking like this with these Stalkers, it's going to buy even more time. It's really the biggest threat right now is a counterattack. Is Nerchio actually going to commit to a big counterattack? It looks like he wants to go back to defensive mode after losing that hatchery. I guess that makes sense. You know, he's going to deny this base, the 5th base of Patience, and Patience is just looking to buy more and more time, get that perfect army.
Patience just doesn't want to go anywhere near these fights. Blink straight on out. He's just looking for another path around to try and get some guaranteed damage somewhere, and then just a recall eventually and get to the ultimate composition. Sacrificing off his sentries now, realizing that they're not going to be any use. So he can get himself more Tempests if he wants.
Yeah, he didn't use the energy on them. I think a bunch of hallucinations to scout everything would have been great, but that's nitpicking.
Yeah, I guess. And all the static vents keeps being slaughtered. Even the blink up into the high ground. Those hallucinations that you mentioned, he got some apparently, and they do come to good use. And even the Stalkers being sacrificed here, it's not too big a deal because if he is replacing them,
got an Ultra as well. He might even get a second one. Oh, that fungal, they're locking them all down.
That was ravaging. Throwing them all over the place. Oh, we almost got the Mothership Core.
Caught the last end of that.
Very, very close. If that had died.
It's like one shot away from dying from anything.
Yeah.
More and more Tempest on the way as well. He's trying to build this army up. Constantly committing to these run-bys for the DTs and Zealots non-stop. You might have to sack up another base though at the top right. Just let it go. Wait for that army to get all together. Wait for everything that he needs to deal with Broodlords, Ultras, and Infestors.
Doing a lot of damage, killing off a lot of probes. Patience though, does he have the Golden Armada enough to be able to kind of shut down this army? Right now, 4 Tempests there. What are we looking at numbers-wise while all this damage is going down here, Funker? How many units, how much in the air does he have, all importantly? 6 Tempests, a few Void Rays mixed in. Tempests have now found some of their marks, but that's a lot of Corruptors. Actually, that is a lot of Corruptors. Storm's going to have to try and chew through that.
Yeah, we do see actually some Void Rays being added in as well, which is going to help out tremendously against these Corruptors, but he just doesn't have enough of them so far, so he completely has to rely on the ground army as well as these Storms. Still a lot of Broodlords in the air as well. 10 Broodlords, 17 Corruptors.
I think it's not like Nerchio has even built that many units in the past couple of minutes or so. It's just a carrier. I guess you can have one hero unit.
Yeah, why not?
It's not like he's made too many units during these past phases. He's lost a lot of his economy, but his army is such strong quality about it. So, Nerchio still holding on, definitely.
Yeah, he made this army that it's such a strong army against just about anything. It really requires the Protoss to identify it early on and do make the units better. Look at this, completely caught out here. He's going to lose every single one.
This is brilliant here for Nerchio. Even throws down Corruption on them, so he's killing them off with one volley, and also the Hydra Destroyer as well. That takes away a lot of the anti-air power that we're seeing from him. The Storms are going to have to be great here for Patience, but Nerchio keeps finding himself good angles. Even finds himself Fungal out the front there.
Cannot afford to lose all the Corruptors to Storm, but there's nothing really to threaten the Broodlords at this point, and more Fungals.
That Fungal locked down a lot of those Colossi as well. The Corruptors are actually all going to die off here, but I don't even think it matters. GG. The game goes to Nerchio. Once he finds himself those Broodlords, he's the true Broodlord commander. He grew up in that. He was bred in that situation.
He was. Wings of Liberty certainly was where he was shining the most. Very comfortable in that sort of situation. Being allowed to get there, kind of a surprise from Patience. Maybe the map had a little to do with it. Maybe the sort of the opening from Nerchio appearing to be sort of aggressive with the Ling Roaches trying to knock down the third, or at least expend a lot of the army's energy when you did have those sentries. So very well thought out sort of play there from Nerchio, and he certainly bought a lot of time.
All right, well, we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, it's going to be game number 2 between Nerchio and Patience. Welcome back to the Incel Extreme Masters, as that man right there is one game away from advancing onto the round of 8. And after what we've seen here in this group so far, I mean, deservedly so, really.
Certainly so. I'm very impressed with him so far. Has not really shown much weakness at all so far in this matchup. Loves to go to the late game, which is kind of surprising for a lot of Zerg players. You know, it's not that easy to fight Protoss in the late game if they're well set up. Though certainly Patience was not. He was not in a comfortable place. He wasn't making the perfect timing to deal with what he had to in the late game. And I mean, completely caught out with these Tempests is kind of it was actually kind of a weird way to go.
Tough stuff. Tough stuff. That's
Tough love.
That's how I like to categorize it. Tough stuff. Well, let's get into game number 2 here for the Intel Extreme Masters as we are spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. It is our blue Protoss representing Dead Pixels. It is Patience. Who's going to tell Nerchio that he's cruising for a bruising? As we are spawning up to the top left-hand corner, 1 game up here in this best of 3. 1 game away from the round of 8, representing Team Acer. It is Nerchio. The brawler himself. Look at that guy. Gets to fight all the time.
You can just tell, man. Look at those scars.
Ugh.
Those muscles.
It's going to get you.
It's going to get you. Well, different map, different sort of situation. Very open map. Generally favors Zerg players, to be honest, on this map. Maybe Patience this time around will be a little bit more inclined to go for a 2-base all-in because, you know, fixing for a 3rd here, incredibly difficult.
Incredibly. We'll see if Nerchio can really weather the storm. Patience has a good opportunity here to actually go for a Forge, actually, again. And will do, thanks to that probe that he's already sent out. Got to do that on a 4-player map, really. If you don't find out where they are at the very beginning with that probe, it can get a little bit problematic. But now, because he has 2, he's guaranteed to be able to find it by the time that Forge finishes up.
Unfortunately for him, though. Pool first.
You just like to make fun of me, don't you?
No, I love your accent. All I want is to have it. So.
Oh, I see. I see.
I mean, if I could speak like that every day, I'd just be the most charming man.
To be fair, I think Australians do quite well for themselves abroad anyway as well, right?
I mean, people like our accent. People like our accent, but yeah. Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever. And here we go again, mate. I feel like Patience hasn't really done his homework because he went for a very aggressive double scout with a Forge against Nerchio.
It's a lot of money invested into that, to be honest. He loses a lot of mining time. And against this, you know, Nerchio does favor this to just keep himself very, very well defended. It slows down. We mentioned in the previous one, it would, if you wanted to go for a gateway attack or something like that against someone like Nerchio, which works out really, really well, by the way, or it has done in the past, it's a bit more difficult off a Forge opener.
Certainly so. Yeah, he's got a whole different range of options of aggression because of how late this gas is, how late the gateway is, the cyber core, everything is slowing down. The economy is great, like, and you're very, very safe early on. But I don't think you really have to worry about being safe against Nerchio because all he wants to do is put down a pool and a hatchery and make some drones.
All right, well, double gas being taken here from Patience. What do you think his follow-up's going to go to? Do you think from here he goes to something like a Stargate Oracle opener, or do you think Nerchio is always kind of good against those? Where do you think that Nerchio's weaknesses are for Patience to try and exploit?
It's a hard question. That is a hard, loaded question, Kalaris.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
In this kind of situation, it's hard to kind of think of, like, I like the Stargate openings. I like them for most normal Protoss players, but Patience is certainly not normal by any means. He wants to be aggressive. Maybe an Oracle opening and try for a 3rd base, but we did see last game what Nerchio wants to do, and that is to go for roaches, make about 10 roaches and a ton of lings behind that to, you know, try and cancel the 3rd base or at least trade well with the army. So he's going to kind of try and work around that sort of mindset that Nerchio has right now because the safe bet as well is because it is Nerchio, he's probably going to do the same thing.
Well, that Queen already over towards the 3rd base, skedabled over there quite fast.
Skedabled, I like that.
I just made that one up as well.
Skedabled, it's a new word.
Yeah, that's fine.
You just made it.
Yep. Just now. And Twilight Council up towards the top, so the trickiness of Patience comes into play. And with
DTs.
with the probe still up there, especially.
Yeah. That gives it away. That gives it away to the casters and the observer that Dark Templar.
It's funny though, because sometimes they leave the probe up there to make sure that it's not going to be spotted on its retreat out, and then they go blink. But yeah, that's the kind of thought processes that we have to go through here. Usually it is for the Dark Templar when it lingers up there.
It certainly does make a lot more sense. It's either that or you throw down gateways, and it is going to be Dark Shrine. He's going to keep the probe there, as we suspected as well, or as you suspected, that he won't want to give away where that probe came from.
Yeah. It's very important, very important. If he gets up there, great. If, you know, you don't want to have it on the retreat out and just everything just die off before you can even execute your master plan.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Nerchio threw down spores completely blind and completely in safety mode at some point as well.
Oh dear. This is really going to catch him off guard if he's not careful. I mean, the 2 gateways up there as well.
I do like that.
Wait, but he's going to spot it. He's going to spot the probe coming from up in that direction. So if it's really keen with his eyes, why is that probe coming from that direction more so than not? And he moved his overlord as he saw it.
I don't know if he'll really suspect. Maybe he thought, you know, a probe went north and to put a pylon up there for the aggression that's going to happen. 10 roaches once again. No spore crawlers there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the layer is halfway complete at the moment, and he won't have overlords to be, overseers to be able to spot it out either. And they will take a little while, but at least he's sending to kill off this pylon. Can he kill the pylon before the DTs warp in? I think so, right?
Oh. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
And spore 1 on the way. It's going to be at that 3rd, but
they're going to be dying.
It could be dying. It's going to die. Lair nearly finished there. That's the other redeeming thing. 3 DTs could actually get to work on this hatchery, and very smartly, Patience chooses to do so.
It's gone. It is gone here. There's no way to be able to save that.
Is that a disease, Caleres?
I don't know. Did that? I'm not even sure. You're a tease. He's trying to use the hold command, but with just roaches alone, I don't think they can really push it off that hatchery.
Oh, and they all escape. Looks like 1 might go down. Maybe.
The separation up here from him was quite clever. And actually, it's really difficult to spot that blur.
Oh, man.
Whew.
Wow, perfect play there from Patience. Getting everything he needed to do without losing a single thing.
Great
3rd
stuff.
base on the way.
Yeah, what a great little transition on here for Patience. 1 game down at the moment, of course, but that was a well-orchestrated little assault that could culminate in more later on, because these Dark Templars are still lurking about.
And Blink +1 nearly finished up. +2 no doubt going to be the next step here, and a pretty hefty Sentry Stalker follow-up will most likely be in play. And that makes a lot of sense, because when a Zerg's lost the base like this, he's going to have so much trouble trying to catch up and trying to have an army ready for this kind of all-in.
And I love the retracking possibility here of using the Warp Prism to ferry those Dark Templars into the main base. Because sometimes, as a Zerg, you can put all of your detection, once you've established these kind of 3 base, on the perimeters of your bases, and maybe sometimes neglect the main. Thankfully for Nerchio, though, he did not. At least that Spore Crawler will help for a little bit, unless he gets sniped out instantly.
Yeah, well, that's the next problem, right? Because that is 3 Dark Templar. They can deal with the Spore Crawler pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He's the Warp Prism. He's not in place for this. He's going to work on the Queen instead.
No. Saw the Warp Prism heading on him. Gonna pick up and get out of there straight away. I do think if he'd have gone to the Spore, he would have been able to do a bit more there. But, you know, that's by the by. He doesn't fully know exactly where all the Overseers are positioned at the moment. And that's something you've got to be very careful of here as the Protoss.
Hatchery only finishing up now as well. Fully saturated, but, you know, he was on equal economy, if not a little bit less for some time there, as Patience 3rd base finished up a little while ago.
And Nerchio has been favoring, actually, this melee as well as range style against Protoss recently. I think we saw him do it in WCS Challenger. And it certainly allowed his army to pack a huge punch in the mid-game. Massive punch in the mid-game, but things did melt away quite quickly. So it's an interesting style that only really Nerchio employs here in Europe for the most part.
Yeah, I've seen it before from other players. I'm not sure if I'm into it there. I feel like Carapace does have a pretty important role to play, especially later on. If you are using Zerglings against, for instance, Zealots, you always want to have the same sort of armor as they have attack, so it doesn't take 2 shots to kill them. I think that can add up for sure, especially because he is planning to go Hive. He wants to go all the way, whether it be for Vipers or for the Ultra and fungal sort of style once again. Carapace is important.
I feel that Patience needs to do something, though. He needs to really exert himself here. He doesn't want to let Nerchio just kind of run away with his game plan, Roach Hydra mid-game, with that Hive following up very, very quickly. 10 Roaches and 16 Hydras forces the cancellation of that base purely from just a blink forwards and posturing of his army.
Doesn't look like he wants to commit too much further than that just yet, though. He's maybe waiting for Templar Archives to finish up, maybe put down Storm, go for the Immortal Storm sort of composition. Not a bad idea, but maybe leaving it a little too late. You know, Infestors are going to be out, Hive is going to be done. Going to have that sort of fungal Blinding Cloud option again as well.
with potentially some ultras mixed in once again if we get that far down the rabbit hole. As gonna maybe... Okay, so he's gonna leave the Dark Templar there. I thought he was maybe gonna pick it up and just try and ferry them into another location again. He's always looking. This is really cool by Patience to always just be looking for opportunities with these Dark Templars. And if he doesn't see it, just... Oh, whoa, well, no.
Nope, down it goes.
I thought he was gonna get away.
Hydra, he still stays alive. Keep it alive. Oh.
Don't hurt my babies.
Exactly what you said in the Zerg tongue.
Yep. All right, well, Storm on the way now here against these infestors that are on the way. But as we said, Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, and that will cause all sorts of problems here for Patience.
Fungal goes down. Blink was late.
Keep it trapped, and he does chain it. That's a good pickup here for Nerchio.
Yeah, once again, getting to that very comfortable stage. Patience not applying the pressure when he should have. Now we're in an awkward place. Despite, you know, Nerchio losing that third base, he never got punished for it, really. Like, it hurt his economy a little bit, but he still remains ahead. His economy is going to be ahead when these fourth and fifth base finish up. And he cancels the fourth.
All right, well, this army, it's quite ambitious, actually, to have 3 Colossi. He should be able to sense, but doesn't realize that those are hallucinations. I think the force fields may have been enough to stave him off anyway, but... That would have been, if it was 3 Colossi and 5 Immortals, that's quite a lot of Robo facility production, considering he opened up Twilight Council, etc.
Certainly so. I guess he was a little frightened of the Templar as well. He's like, oh man, Storm, this is like the worst army to have against Storm. Because, you know, mostly Ling or Hydra, they're so soft, they just get obliterated if the Storm goes down.
So you're just going to wait for the Ultras. The Ultras strong against this. Again, the hallucinated Colossi. I wonder if he saw in range of that when he... I think that Creep Trooper was in range of it, would have actually spot the hallucination, but...
He's got a few overseers with his army as well, so he should have an idea that they are fake, at least when the armies collide. Here we go again, wiping out Creep, looking for that fourth base, same time.
Nice move, nice move. This army here, and for Nerchio, going to grab on forwards a few of these units. Grab Stalkers, actually, to start things off. Storms go down. Big blanket of Storms here, but is it going to be enough? The Ultras are actually evaporating at the front, and also actually catching himself a Viper at the back there with a feedback. Means that he's actually done really well with the frontal army, and also killed off that base to the right-hand side. This is going okay for Patience.
Yeah, fantastically. You could also commit some units to that fourth base down below there. And pressing forwards, a lot of roaches are about to come out, so he cannot overcommit.
Infestors walking to their deaths. He lost a lot of them there. They were all coupled together, I guess, with the roaches. That's a lot of roaches and Hydras, though, that have popped out. If they could kill off those Immortals at the back, that could be a good position here for Nerchio, but he still lost quite a lot during all of that.
Yeah, it's looking like we are seeing you know, at least he's fighting it back. Nearly all the Immortals gone, but such a repopulation of that army from that pylon.
Yeah, the reinforcements are strong here for Patience. Very, very strong. Nerchio gonna have to dance on away, and there you go, GG. Patience takes that game.
Very nicely done there, making the correct army and pressing it just the right time before Ultras were really a problem on the map.
Yeah. And the way in which those Storms just laid down into the Zerg army, I mean, the amount of damage you're going to be taking there. He didn't really try and avoid them too much, unfortunately, after Nerchio. So he took big damage to that.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. He actually just ate those Storms. He swallowed them all. He's like, okay, just let it happen, and I'll power through it. But unfortunately, you can't do that with Zerg.
No.
Not with Zerg.
Not too easily, especially when the majority of the composition it actually lies in Lings and Hydras. There was a few roaches in there, of course, a few Ultras, but all of those Ultras overpowered very quickly by the Stalker and Immortal Force.
A lot of Immortals in that composition. Like he was like expecting that army to come out again, and he just made the composition that would counter it at the right time.
Yeah. Well done there by Patience, well done. Showing in the end that he is not a guy that you can just take lightly in the mid-game and even later stages of the game. I think if it had been another map, well, actually, no, I was thinking about game 1 and the flow of it, and now that I think about it, Nerchio would have just won anyway. But here in game 2, Patience, you know, he played that out well with obviously the Dark Templars, giving him a little bit of an advantage, to say the least, at the beginning.
Now, map number 3. Coda is the map, so it's a pretty nice Protoss map. I do like this map for Protoss getting to the late game. If we want to see Patience go there again, or he can go for that, you know, very heavy Sentry Stalker style. Great map for it, great force fields. Same sort of, if you look from the other side though, the Ling Roach pressure that we did see in Game 1 would be pretty effective on this map because there's a big gap between the third and the natural, which the Protoss is going to have a hard time defending in. Well, let's see exactly what these guys have planned. I wonder if we're going to see another Forge opening from Patience.
I think he has to lean away from that now. I think he leans away from it and goes for a good old gateway timing. Because if he does open gateway and tries to kind of hit Nerchio hard, he's still varying up from game to game. And also, you know, maybe trying to hit Nerchio a little bit earlier where he has, you know, sustained damage in the past. He's taken quite a lot of losses there, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, considering he's really found nothing at all, or no reason to go for the Forge Fast Expand either, because Nerchio is always going pool first, no matter what.
Yep. Yep, not leaning away from that one himself. That's true. All right, well, getting loaded up. Coda LE will be our next map. Nerchio looks to try and push on in this group, and so far still has the opportunity to. As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner is that man himself. He's the Polish player representing Team Acer. It is Nerchio.
Dreams about late game. Gonna get there again.
And up to the top left, we have our red Protoss representing Team Dead Pixels. It is Patience.
Here we go again. Looks like it is going to be a pylon on the ramp.
Okay, goes back to mining, and then obviously a 1v1 map, knowing where his opponent will end up spawning. Maybe he calls his bluff. Maybe he's like, aha, you went pool 2 times in a row. This time I'm sure you're going to go hatchery first.
I feel like that's the wrong bluff to call against Nerchio.
Yeah.
I think a Nexus first would be a beautiful idea.
It's true. That'd be good.
I'm getting that feeling as well.
When you look at Dead Pixel's jersey that they actually use, you know, obviously it's like the little camouflage with the hexagons and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think they're like at war in cyberspace? Is that what that's for? Like,
I think you might be onto something.
Yeah.
I think only Dead Pixel does it, so they're at a huge advantage here.
I guess so. Yeah.
They're just a little bit more hidden.
Exactly. That's why he employs Dark Templars.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, it's exactly what Dark Templars are made of.
Yeah, those little pixels.
Pixel camouflage.
Thank you.
Dead Pixels, actually.
Yeah, thank you, Patience. Thank you. I appreciate the flamboyance. And once again, it's Forge against spawning pool first.
Well, okay.
Just do it, Patience.
I mean, if he wants to do it, he wants to do it. That's fine. Maybe he just really doesn't want to play against a Zerg that wants to go hatch first, so he's like, as long as I don't have to face hatch first, I'm happy with this build.
I'm a happy man.
I'm a happy man. I'm a happy camper. And yeah, he's going to delay it for as much as he can. He's going to take some hits in the probe. 3 on a pile even.
Delays.
I like that, actually. I mean, he's going to be so far ahead with his Nexus. Look at this. His Nexus well on the way already.
It's good. It's not too bad. Overlord gets over there, sees the Forge, sees the fact that the Nexus is going down. Nerchio has 4 Zerglings on the way. And goes back to Jordan. Okay, so he's not going to try and do something crazy like run over there with Zerglings, because that would be insanity at this point.
Absolute insanity.
Craziness.
Virtual insanity, actually.
Virtual insanity.
Against the Dead Pixels cloaked player.
I was going to say, at least he's camouflaged, so he doesn't really need to deal with that. It's fine. In cyberspace.
In cyberspace. It's what it's all about here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
Cyber Warriors.
Cyber Warriors.
That's what it's all about. We should change our slogan. The Intel Extreme Master. Cyber Warriors at work.
That's brilliant. That's a great idea.
Really?
It would attract a lot more people, I think.
Oh, yes.
Everyone wants to be part of that.
That would totally go against the nerd stereotype, wouldn't it?
I always thought of myself as a cyber warrior.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cleaving down nerds left and right. All right. Enough silliness. He's actually, you know, to be fair to him, got those 2 hatcheries up at the other side of things. That pylon was cancelled, so Patience wasn't really overcommitting too many minerals over there. But still, the slow down pace is not too bad for him. It's good.
Yeah, it's all good. And still waiting to see what the next step is for Patience. What is his plan after that Cybercore? Is he going to play more of the same way that we've been seeing? Does he want to go GTs again, or maybe some Stargate this time? I'd like to see a Stargate, to be honest, Calaris. Something that I've been dreaming about for a while now.
Yeah. Is that the Zerg inside you speaking, or is that the caster inside you speaking?
There's a caster. It is the caster, the curious caster.
Yeah.
Because I do appreciate Oracle openings for the Protoss player, because I think it gives them great options. It gives them a powerful early game harassment unit, as well as a defensive unit, specifically against Zerglings. Look at that. Look at it in all its beauty.
Nice.
Look at what we see, Funker. It is the Stargate.
I like the use of potential Envision as well if he finds any room to eventually deny some creep tumors. That comes later on, of course, but, you know, having that little bit of extra detection along with you means that your Robo facility doesn't have to be as busy. So that's nice. Yeah,
so it's going to give you the option to invest in other units as well, like the Void Ray if you're up against a very early Roach aggression.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of options there. Revelation, all game long, going to keep you in the know-how of where the army is. Most useful unit, I gotta say, Oracles. They're fantastic.
Yeah, good utility-wise. Nerchio, at the moment, is going to have to buckle down for the long ride here at the moment. And there is the Oracle on the way. And he's actually, I think he's just gotten vision with an Overlord of the Stargate, actually. So good scout here by Nerchio to be able to spot that out.
Let's see if he was paying attention, though, because this whole harassment's happening at the same time, trying to keep Queens alive, trying to work on this Mothership core as well. We don't see any Spore Crawlers just yet, but we do see a number of Queens being made.
Oh, gets himself the Zealot for his troubles off of all of that. And just adding on the gases now. I mean, having Spores against this when your bases are so kind of detached from one another, there we go, one's on the way, by creep means that the Queens aren't going to have the easiest of time getting from base to base.
Ooh, look at this. You can either go for the Queen, you can go for the drones. What is your choice? You have a few seconds to choose. Spore Crawler nearly finished.
Gets himself a drone or two. Those are guaranteed kills. Well, almost got another, but transforms into a Spore. Finds some extra room, though. It's so the slight, I think you are totally on the money there, Moonglade. With that harassment going down, maybe a little bit of a mishap and slip up in, despite having the knowledge, not be able to exactly deny all those drone kills going down.
Yeah, 5 drones. It's quite a lot of drones to lose. I mean, if you see it coming, you certainly will not lose that kind of drones unless you lose a bunch of transferring drones. So nicely done with the Oracle. Keeps it alive, which is also one of the more important things. You have to keep that alive so you can scout the map, defend, throw down Revelations a little bit later as well, and try and look for the tech that's going to be on the map.
Just have to fly away from the front. Overlord, Zergling's speed as well as clear reconstitution now starting on up and firing up here for Nerchio. Up against a patient that is still probing away. He's got his third base on the way. And those Zerglings can't really do a whole lot other than confirm, so it's going to be a little bit problematic here for Nerchio to go up against that position.
Look at this. We do see 6 Roaches are in the making. Maybe if we see a few more, could be that sort of Roachling aggression that he was looking for last game. Or maybe just being a little defensive considering this is around the time that units are going to be on the map to pressure.
A Nerchio special. That's Hidden Spire down to the bottom right-hand corner.
With?
That's the left corner, James. Yeah. Don't be silly.
4th base as well down there, mind you, which is nice and early. If he gets that up and running with 8 gases, he's going to have a lot of mutas to play with.
Yeah. Well, technically, that's quite funny. I mean, Nerchio doing this against the Stargate opener is something that you wouldn't really expect to come along, but it's almost like the double bluff of, yeah, I know, you've shown that you have a Stargate available, but I can mix in this whenever I want. And his Muta Corruptor style that we see him really preferring in this matchup has taken many a victim, even when they've had good, airspace control with Phoenix.
Yeah, I can certainly believe that. You see a Void Ray out already to kind of deflect the Roachling. This Oracle needs to be a little bit more aggressive with its scouting. It's kind of being defensive right now because of these Roachlings, but he has no idea if 4th is on the way or that Spire, which is going to change everything in just a moment's time. Look how many mutas he can make right now. 13, soon to be 14. That's an insane amount of muta switching.
Yeah, that's scaling up really quite scary now here for Patience. Of course, yeah, he'll be warping in a load of Stalkers, but the Stalkers against over all these 3 locations, it's going to be difficult. What does he see at the front? He only sees some Zerglings, a few Roaches, but there's got to be something going on behind you. 18 Mutalisks are in production. This hallucinated Phoenix, yes, will eventually get confirmation, but by the time he sees it...
It's too late. It's all too late.
That Stalker knows exactly what's up. Fall back to the shadows, my
Fall
friends.
back to the shadows. Use the dead pixels. Vanish.
Get away from here. And this is going to be a lot of Mutalisks. Oh dear. Even the Lings and Roaches are causing him some problems at the front.
You know, he had the right idea last game. You know, he went for those double Stargates. Wait, that was game 1. He had the double Stargates. He was making Phoenix. He's like, you know what? The Ling Roach pressure, it made sense.
Yeah, he's going straight to the Stargate. If he can actually just do some damage in here. I mean, 4 Stalkers can't rival this.
Certainly not.
You can just turn around and shoot those down. Nexus Cannon's on the way, though. He's got a Void Ray with a few more Stalkers in tow, so not too bad to be able to push it all away. But the Roach is to the right-hand side. Nerchio looking for the left and the right jabs. Looking to try bring down that cannon. Maybe get himself... Oh, if he'd have got onto the sentries, that would have been a diabolical move.
Might have been a bad move though, but that's a lot of sentries with those Stalkers.
True.
Yeah, it's hard to trade out with at this point. You need more upgrades, more Mutalisks. And it's interesting that we are seeing Carapace as the upgrade.
26. Jeez. I kind of understand partially this Carapace. I mean, if he's making a lot of commitment towards Phoenix to deal with it, they attack twice, right, per shot.
That is true.
So,
yeah, but, you know, at the same time, you just are wanting to like fly and do the damage, fly out, and what better way than to upgrade your damage to do so, which is more traditional.
That's true.
Look at it.
It's almost always been a case of numbers for Nerchio, though, when he plays this kind of style. Because, I mean, he's churning away 8 gases right now. And if he can retain his Mutalisk numbers against only 1 Stargate worth of unit, Phoenix, he's in a great spot. He's killing off a lot of probes here.
Yeah, with only 1 Stargate for this long, it means he can just commit to Mutas for a very long time.
Yeah.
There's never going to be a real problem with the Phoenix count, at least for a couple more minutes.
Needs the second Stargate up and running as quickly as possible as these Mutalisks fly in yet again. And will kill off quite a few workers. 12 have now gone down. Loses a Mutalisk or 2 for this, but still, 28 Mutas with 8 more popping because he has so much gas.
That's absolutely insane. Going up to 10 gases in just a moment's time, too, with that 5th base finishing up. He's having the time of his life right now. This is actually the most fun a Zerg player can have. Trust me on that.
Oh, yeah. And there's nothing quite like having so many Mutalisks to just fly around and be super agile with, just kill off whatever you like. I think he should be focusing down the Stargate now. Like, of course he's done damage, some good damage here and there, but whatever he can get. Oh, the pylon would be good. But he's going to take the direct engage with those Phoenix.
Yeah, he's got to be careful how he engages. I mean, you can't throw away too many Mutas. I like this trade-off, though, getting rid of a couple of those Phoenix. He didn't unpower that Stargate, though, which was really the aim of that attack. We do see those Corruptors being added in now as well.
Could have got it so easily. Could have got it, but alas, that is not to be the case here. Nerchio going to swing back again, realizing he's pulled his opponent's army out of position, focus down a cannon or 2, and then get maybe straight back onto them. Trying to get onto the Phoenix would always be good, but will maneuver himself back a little bit there. These Phoenix, the thing is that he didn't get a fleet beacon ever, right? So he's not going to have access to Anion Pulse Crystals for a while.
Yeah,
that's to be the case.
That's like the biggest game changer when you're using Phoenix like this against this amount of Mutalisks. You have to have it so you can just run them down, because Phoenix become like the most cost-efficient unit in the game against Mutalisks, because there's no way the Mutas can catch them, and they're simply completely outranged. They do so much damage.
A few of these continuing to fly over. It looks like Patience has completely ran out of the definition of his name. He's moving through the middle of the map at the moment here with quite a sizable part of his army. The Nexus falls in the main base. The Spine Crawlers greet pretty much a full Sentry army, and he cannot do anything with that. Nerchio, right now he's on the road to the round of 8 if he keeps going. Uh-oh, those Lings as well are buffering so well. This isn't even his full army. He's losing so much of it. Nerchio here getting a good trade. He took some AoE damage to those Archons, but just needs to pull them back and get away.
Now he's going to be looking to do some real economic damage while he has map presence, patience. He's actually got a pretty scary army to fight against what we see from Nerchio.
Yeah.
10 Spine Crawlers on the way, so he wants to make that forest somewhere. It looks like it's outside the natural.
Nerchio, Patience has completely abandoned his outposts, and he is just looking for some damage somewhere. He's actually split off his army once again, as Nerchio swings back with the Mutalisks to kill off some Phoenix, kill off a little bit more. This little paltry army down towards the bottom, once those Spine Crawlers finish in the 3rd base, is going to be difficult to do anything. And Nerchio is doing well with the Mutas. He's killed so many probes.
So many probes. More to go down as well. Not enough defense here. Mutas can just hold position, dealing with a lot of the Phoenix as well.
That's almost everything. He's lost 42 probes. Oh my god.
16 remain. That's absolutely insane. He has to kind of commit fully to a base trade of this situation. There's no way he's going to win a macro game from here.
Patience hardly has any money. He does not have a bank. He does not really have much of an income at all. These Mutalisks are gathering up at the front here to slowly pick away at this because they know how separated the Protoss army is right now. That's a great move here for him to just try and shut down some of this and maybe see if he can move on. Of course, the Stalkers are really holding their own here, though. Nerchio losing quite a few of them. +3 weapons really making a difference here against just 1-1. And maybe if the other Stalkers can get over there, maybe he can power out that.
Yeah, still a 20 supply lead for Nerchio at this point, but he has to be very careful where he's fighting. He's got to use his spine crawlers a lot more efficiently.
Yeah.
If he wants to fight with the Mutas, wait until he's got a better place to fight them.
How many Mutas does he have at the moment? There's even a Phoenix in production. It was blocked out there, though. 20 Mutalisks, not really enough to conquer the 31 Stalkers that we're seeing here at the moment, but every Stalker is definitely going to count because of how much hurting the economy of Patience is.
Yeah, pretty much non-existent at this point, as well as the fact that there's so many spine crawlers at every base. It's like nearly impossible to fight there with Stalkers without taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage.
Finds the majority of the remaining probes. They're trying to evacuate on out. The Mutalisks just looking to shred them down. And once they are gone, still going to be difficult. Losing the Spire would be an annoyance, actually, from those Stalkers down towards the bottom left.
50 supply lead now for Nerchio. He's nearly dealt with every single probe. Only 4 probes left at this point, so the economy has been annihilated. There's no real coming back into this game in that way. It's going to be about these Mutas and what they can find, how they engage these Stalkers on the map.
Yeah, can still work though. +3 weapons with these kinds of Blink Stalker numbers can still work. 25 Stalkers at the moment. The Mutas could just not stick around for a straight-up engagement because that one Archon is causing a few issues with the clumping up potential. But separating the Stalkers up like this for Patience is so ballsy, but I guess he's got to try something.
He has to try something. And man,
oh my.
So many spine crawlers here. He's going to get rid of at least the closest one, but I think it's really worth it at all, and that's the rest of his army, yeah.
It's too much, the spine crawlers alone. Look how pinned in these Stalkers are. It's 104 supply against 48. Nerchio here in Group D is making it happen. This is wild.
He's impressing everyone right now. I don't think anyone really expected this kind of play from Nerchio, coming out of nowhere, essentially. Showing some really great play.
Patience, still trying to find some damage where he can, but these crevasses between these small... That's why you can't stick around that one Archon.
Gotta be a little careful.
Yeah.
Blink forward zone, very impatient.
The dance is just not enough here for Patience. It's not going to work on out. Nerchio is playing this well, because every time the Stalkers try and blink forwards aggressively to get shots off, they're separating themselves up into small clumps of 4, and Nerchio is more than happy to just turn around and kill that off.
Yeah, once again, he's going to fly up, try and find the economy. It's been pulled to the right side though, so it will remain alive. But always the threat of the base trade is there as well. It's going to be hard for Patience to go across the map and do any sort of building damage. But for Nerchio, we can just come back anytime, start chipping away again.
All right. Seeing what you can do. Get all the probes and then run away.
One remains.
Oh, poor little guy. Well, he's got to build a whole empire as that probe wherever he is. Good luck, probe. Godspeed.
Best of luck, mate. I'm not sure how long you'll last there. Not with these Mutas still on about, and I mean another 11 Mutas are about to be made as well, mind you, when that Spire finishes up.
Well, Mutalisks are just going to keep dancing around now. 12 Mutalisks in production. Oh no, that's really, really brutal. There you go. GG. Ace and Nerchio advances on to the round of 8. And he's got to be happy with that one, considering what he said in his previous interview. Not feeling as confident in Heart of the Swarm compared to Legacy of the Void. But wow, what a result there for Nerchio. Really proving a lot of doubters wrong coming into this group.
Yeah, certainly, sir. Just very clean play there. I loved every minute of it. You know, he loves to go to that late game, and he plays it so well. Which is surprising because there's no Swarm host anymore.
And that's one of the pocket strategies he really has, and you've always got to be really, really afraid of. This hidden Spire catches you out, and then from that point, yeah, if you scout it early, great. You can throw down a second Stargate. Right. You can have those Phoenixes starting to pile up.
Exactly. I mean, if Patience had that build in did that build he had in game number 1 ready for the Muta switch in game number 3, it would have been a much different story.
Oh, wow, that does it. Nerchio advances onto the round of 8. Let's head over to the analysis desk to hear a few words from him.
Thank you, Kalaris, here with Nerchio, who gets out in first place of Group D, and it seems the key to success is playing Legacy of the Void. You've gone through in first place, and I saw it at the end there, a big clap, and you seem very happy with yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm not doing so well versus Protoss, but I managed to beat Patience. As I said, I actually wasn't so worried, yeah.
And I liked how you closed it up in your favorite style, using the air, really sticking to that style. So you weren't worried about Patience going into this series. I mean, a lot of, we talked about it on the desk, and everyone was saying, well, you know, Patience should be favored against Nerchio here. But it seems like you were really kind of dictating the pace of the series more so than him.
I think that, well, I guess everybody knows that I'm not so good versus like the very standard European style, I guess, Sentry, Stalker, and Immortals. But I knew that Patience is not going this style every game, so I wasn't so worried. I knew I can beat him late game. I knew I can use my style with Muras as well. So yeah, you could see every style I could play.
Yeah, I kind of felt that this series is a little bit of like your ZvP in a nutshell. Like game number 1, you kind of close it out with Ultralisk and Broodlords at the same time, something we mentioned at the start of the series. And then in the final game, you could do kind of the trademark Nerchio Muda switch that you've been doing for so long. It must feel nice when, you know, your opponent gives you the freedom to do what you know best, right?
Yeah, exactly. I actually planned, you know, to play Muda in the last map since the beginning. I told myself, like, if it goes to the third game, I'd rather play my favorite style. And Coda is actually not so bad for that.
So you can be completely honest with us now. There's nothing to hide you through. Looking at this group when you were drawn into it, was this a group you said, I'm going through in first place or second, or what were your expectations?
Well, it was not an easy group for me, but you know, you were also saying all the time that this is probably the easiest group, and I kind of agree with you. So it's probably the best group I could get. Yeah.
Rodney, any?
No, looking forward into the tournament. You know, you've won this group right now, so you will play against the second place finisher of one of the other groups. All other groups have been played already. Any preferences?
Do you know who advanced from the second places?
Yes, it'll be MMA in one of them, and
Lambo.
it'll be Lambo or Fantasy. No, was Fantasy first or second?
He was first, Innovation is second.
So Innovation second. So Innovation, MMA, Lambo.
I guess.
Innovation.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely Lambo. I'm more confident in ZVZ, and well, it's Innovation and it's MMA.
Two very difficult opponents there, Roddy. Nice and easy answer there. But congratulations on going through in first place here, Nerchio. It's an awesome result for you.
Yeah.
And that's the winners match done now in Group D, which means we have a couple of games left to go. Elimination time's coming up next. One player is going home. One player will get to go through to the decider. Before that, make sure to check out twitchtv. Of course, all the action, all the highlights, and all the first-person shots from the action so far is on there.